Growing your business with the right channel mix is super important because it helps diversify your company's streams of revenue. No entrepreneur wants all their eggs in one basket. But if you've ever sold or are selling on Amazon, you'll know how hard it is to break free of that channel. Amazon drives so much traffic to their site that it can feel very scary to try and focus your efforts off of Amazon. But if you don't diversify your revenue away from Amazon, you just might be building a company that isn't worth nearly as much as one that has a good mixture of revenue from different sales channels. And this matters if you decide that one day you want to sell your company. So in this video, I'm going to share with you a conversation I had with Nate, who owns and runs a very profitable e-commerce business that sells outdoor spray equipment. And he asked me a really good question about Amazon sales as a percentage of overall revenue. And this short conversation is one that I think all online sellers need to hear. But before we get into it, take a second now and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss the videos I post each Monday. Now let's get into it.
So it sounds like your experience is more off Amazon. You know, the environment is changing so quickly. I know it's probably hard to say in your place where you're at right now, but so we're the flip, we're about 90% Amazon, 10% Shopify. We were up to 15% at one point, 20%, but some of the iOS updates last year, like the ad stuff really hurt. We're not experts off Amazon like we kind of are on Amazon, we feel like. So I know this is kind of a loaded depends question, but any thought process there, trajectory of would you personally be focusing as much as you could off Amazon if you were kind of, doing $1 million a month or?
Yeah, it depends what you want, right? If you're set on selling to an aggregator and that's what you feel like your best chance is, which at this point being heavy on Amazon, it probably is. I think those multiples and the opportunity there isn't as great. There's way more money off of
3,
Amazon.
4.
Yeah, speaking from experience, you can get well into the teens off of Amazon, which makes a difference for every turn that you're getting, right? And so if you hit a 5 million, right, every turn you're getting is another $5 million.
Yeah.
So it's, you add on 8 more turns outside of Amazon, you're like, it's kind of important. So It depends what you want to do, right? If you feel like we want to exit next year, then there's really little chance you're going to move a lot of your revenue off of Amazon, or I wouldn't even say off, I would say grow. And that's in our case, what we did. It wasn't that we stopped selling on Amazon. We kept selling and we still sell, it still sells millions and millions upon dollars in Amazon. We just focused our energy to grow outside of Amazon, which I think is a huge opportunity that most people haven't really figured out to a very high degree of competency. So it's dependent on what you want. Like, do you want huge multiples and being able to sell to private equity and being able to sell to like these big guys? Then yeah, they're very skittish of companies that are heavy in Amazon because we know all how that game goes, right? And so unless you're an Amazon aggregator and that's what you want, then most companies see it as high risk. You don't have a customer base, right? And so when you talk about lifetime value of a customer, you're like, I have no clue. Like, well, I don't know because I don't know my customers, right? When I launch a new product, you have to start from zero every time, right? And you have to go through your processes and systems of trying to launch a product and stay in stock and all this stuff. When you do it off of Amazon, when you have a customer base of 1 million people, it's so easy. You don't do anything. You just launch it and suddenly you have instant sales and everybody's pumped about it. And probably, most likely, their customer base was the ones that were trying to get that product launched anyways, because that's what they wanted. That's the feedback they were giving you to launch this or do this. And so from a risk profile, buying a company that has its own customer base, that has feedback, right, that they can go do market research on and say how attached to the brand they are, right? And that's what they do. They do their due diligence and they do a survey of your customers. Why did you like this brand? How was the customer service experience? What don't you like about them? Have you told your friends about them, right? All of these things create a risk profile that's much lower than one that's heavily on Amazon.
That makes sense. One of the struggles we've had is that operating, if you go from like an Amazon first approach, it can contradict a little bit the off Amazon because of pricing and just decisions that you make. They can conflict with each other sometimes. So Amazon wants to drive prices down, off Amazon, you're typically trying to keep your margins high. I know you said, you shoot from 70 to 90% gross margin. So that's sometimes the difficulty of almost like doing both.
That's exactly right, because that's why you can't have your cake and eat it too, because Amazon's business model is what it is, and you're a piece of helping them build their business, which is driving prices all the way down. They're commoditizing everything, right? They're pitting people against people. They're creating a so where it's super competitive so that the end winner is the customer with more selection and lower prices. So if you want to be a part of that, then the trains go in one direction. Right? There's no way you're going to change that. Now you might be able to find small ways to kind of get a higher profit at a certain time, but over time, Amazon's business model is strong and it makes sense. And they've built up their infrastructure and all their business strategy, of which third-party sellers are part of, is all around their flywheel, right? And so when you go do it on your own and your business model is to be a premier product that has high margins, has great customer service, that's innovative and has great profits, well, now you're thinking more like an Apple, right? Where you're not trying to drive everything down to the bottom, you're actually trying to make money, and you're trying to do it in a way where your customers support you because of what you're building. They believe in what you're building. They believe in the quality. They believe in the community. They believe in the brand, right? And all of these things are of value, which is very difficult to create on Amazon for reasons that we just talked about, right? They're not going to let you do all this stuff because that would mean you could demand higher prices, and prices would go the opposite way, right? So
when you think about your revenue, think about whether or not you have all your eggs in one basket, and know that if one day you plan to sell your company, having a large chunk of your revenue coming from Amazon could really limit the overall valuation of your company by many, many multiples. And if you want to learn in more detail about the pros and cons of selling on Amazon, click on this video here where I go into detail and draw from 10 years of Amazon selling experience. What I'll share with you in this video here could shape the way you grow your business and ultimately help you create an online business that's worth a lot of money. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.